Hello and welcome back to Dear Young Person by NT. Today I want to talk on something that I had to learn as I grew in my career, which is locking in. So growing up, I used to hear this story. Actually, I heard it, I read it because it was in some of our books. This story about the tortoise and the rabbit, or the hare. I think it was the hare, not the rabbit. I can't remember now. But anyway, again, I'm not even sure if I'm pronouncing tortoise right. Tortoise. Anyway, tortoise it is. So, in this story, there was a race in the animal kingdom, and the race was between the tortoise and the rabbit. And everyone was like, this tortoise is so going to lose. I mean, he's so slow. He's like the slowest animal ever. And now I'm not sure if that's the snail or the tortoise or the sloth, because sloths are very slow. Well, according to Zootopia, which is where I discovered them. Anyway, everyone was like, of course, the rabbit's going to win. So the race began, and the tortoise was just there, trudging slowly on its lane, just minding his own business and going. But as he looked up, the rabbit because rabbits hop. The rabbit was not even in his line of sight at all. That's how far the rabbit had gone. But something happened along the way. The rabbit came upon some carrots, and he thought to himself, this tortoise guy is so slow that it doesn't even matter whether I stop to eat. Because of how slow he is, I can eat to my fill and still get to the finish line before the tortoise. Or at least that's what he thought. And after he started eating and he just got lost in his feast of carrots, then when he looked up, he saw that the tortoise was slowly approaching the finish line. And like he said before, even if I spend all this time eating, all I need to do is just double up, and I'll not only catch up, I will overtake. And the rabbit began to run and run and run, but he did not get to the finish line before the tortoise. And the moral of this story, because these are the kinds of stories that when they tell you these stories or you read these stories, the question is, what's the moral of the story? The moral of the story was simple: slow and steady wins the race. Why is this important, and what does this have to do with locking in? You see, we live in a world where everyone just wants to make it big and do that very quickly. That most people tend to forget that it's the little things that you do in your days of little beginnings that compound, right? So there's this tendency to just, I've put in so much work, it's been 1 year, and then you just give up. And I don't know if you realize, but when it comes to building a career, you better lock in if you're a serious person. Like my friend Gladys would say, a job is not a career, right? A job is just something that you do, right? But a career is like the combination of all that you've learned, all that you've imbibed, all that you've done, and that has made you the person that you are. So your career may not necessarily be a linear path, like, I'm going to start working as a copywriter in an ad agency, and then I'll move on to maybe an associate creative director or deputy creative director, and then I'll become a deputy. I'll become a creative director, and then next thing I'll be like a CEO. It's not necessarily that kind of linear path. It could just be that you're somebody who is such a generalist, right? That you know things about business, about marketing, about operations, maybe a little bit about tech, and then the next thing, your job looks like you going from somebody who was working in marketing or maybe in biz dev, and your job now, or even customer success, and then the next thing, you're a country manager. So a career is not necessarily a job. It's the combination of every single thing plus your interest and all that make you who you are, that then helps you have a career path. So when it comes to building a career, it's very important that you don't focus so much on, oh, but I've given it 1 full year and it's yielded nothing. That's not how growth works, because things compound. When I was applying for the Global Talent Visa, I don't know why I keep saying that, rather for the Tech Nation endorsement, right? I'm the kind of person that I've had two line managers tell me that I'm too hard on myself, that I'm doing great work and I should learn to be less critical of myself. I like to think I've gotten better because for the OGs that I remember, like in my earlier episodes where I talked about my very first appraisal, where I said that they said I should write 3 things I'm proud of. And then I said, I haven't done anything I'm proud of. And my CEO was like, I can mention 3 things that you've done that you should be proud of. Why can't you mention anyone? What do you mean you can't think of anyone? So I like to think that I have come a long way and I'm a lot better. But, it's when I was putting my documents together for that endorsement that I realized how much work I had done in the African tech ecosystem, from my work at SafeBorder, my work at QuickBus, my work at Norbase, and even my work outside of my actual work. Things like speaking to people about marketing, or moderating panels, or being on panels, or even even being part of the team that did like a growth hackathon at the GrowthCon 1.0, right? All of those little things fed into my application, which then got me that endorsement. In putting together that application, I realized that I have actually done a lot. Like, if I want to list impactful things I've done, I do have a list that I can, list from or say things from. And it was it was sort of like a light bulb moment for me, because like I mentioned, I can be quite cynical and a little bit too hard on myself. But anyway, what that showed me was the importance of being faithful in the little things, like consistently showing up and giving your best day in, day out. Because honestly, those little things compound. It's like you saying you want to take a course or a certification and you think you just go through everything in 2 days. Fine, you might do that. But have you really gotten the knowledge that is required? Have you really learned anything? When I was sometime about 2 years ago, I started to take Bible recitation more seriously. And there was a challenge by my pastor, then PTI, and he said that we should try to learn 7 Bible verses in that week, I think. And at first, it seemed like a Herculean task. Like, what do you mean 7 in 1 week? Oh, it's not possible. But what I started doing was learning 1 Bible verse a day. And honestly, it wasn't difficult for me, actually, because I'm very great at cramming. That's how I made it through pre-meds. By cramming. But it's just, I think that what that showed me was the power of compounding, the power in showing up day in, day out. So on the first day, I learned 1 Bible verse. On the second day, I learned another. And that's second one that I learned, I added it to the first one I learned. So by the second day, I knew 2. By the third day, I knew 3. By the fourth day, I knew 4. And that's pretty much how that compounding went, till it got to the point where I knew 14 Bible verses, I knew 21 Bible verses, I knew 28 Bible verses. And now, this year, because like last year, I got into learning chapters. And then this year, I memorized an entire book, like a book with 4 chapters. So it's really fascinating what you can do when you apply yourself to it. And that's the same thing that shows up when you continually put in the work day after day. It compounds. So life is not a get rich quick scheme. There's this verse in Proverbs that says something about how those who want to get rich from like get rich quick schemes, their wealth will vanish fast. Because have you ever seen people that are like money misroad? Maybe like people that got money from illegal means and then the next thing, no more money. Or even people that maybe won it legally, like say in the lottery, right? They won a lottery of like £1 million and then after like 6 months or 1 year, they are back on the streets begging. Anyway, that's not what I'm here to talk about. I just want to really emphasize that you should put in the work, right? At this stage of your life, don't be that person who is always trying to lobby. Be that person who locks in. Be that person who puts in the work. In the course of my career, there've been 3 different people that I've always wanted to, meet, have conversations with. And sometime in, I think, 2018 or 2019, I applied to be the executive assistant of one of them. I was rejected, obviously. Why did I say obviously? Oh my God. Anyway, I applied to be an EA to one of them. I was rejected. I applied to be a PA to another. I was rejected. And then there was the other person that I just really admired. I just thought to myself, oh, one day it would be really nice if I could get to meet this person and it wouldn't be like a networking sort of thing or like a, how do I put it, like a fanzine. I don't know how to interpret fanzine to non-Nigerians. But anyway, so I got rejected. But it was this year, I think, that I sat down and I realized that these 3 people that I wanted to meet and that rejected me at previous times, I actually got the opportunity to not necessarily work for them, but to do stuff with them. So for the person who rejected me as an EA, I had the chance to interview him for a series I was running at my job then. And life is so funny because I had his phone number. I could reach him on WhatsApp. And this is the same person that had been like, oh, how will I ever get the chance to have a conversation with this person or even try to ask this person questions about their career and all of that. And just by staying in my lane and locking in, I somehow found myself in the place where I was the person interviewing that person. Then the second one, which is even funnier because I don't even know how that relationship would have come across or come about, rather, that's the word I'm looking for. But on one random day, I'm like, oh, I need help. I'm going through an existential crisis. I need help. And I got access to this person because we were on the same group chat. A group chat that a colleague of mine had told me about, and I applied to join and I got accepted. And then I was suddenly in the same place where this person was. And this person gave me advice for free. Advice that people would ordinarily pay for. I got it for free and I got access to that person. And then the final person, it was just so crazy. I'm like, see, it taught me that all that time that you want to spend lobbying, I promise you, if you spend it locking in, those people that you are trying so hard to want to network with or want to know you, they will end up knowing you. And it won't be that they are knowing you as somebody who is maybe trying to beg them for a job or trying to farms them. But they will end up knowing you as someone who is capable of adding value. And I can't even tell you how sweet of a feeling that is, to know that you're interacting with these people not because you want a job or not because you want to hold the hem of their garment so that they will help you as your helpers, but that you're meeting them and they see that you're somebody who has value to offer. And they're able to liaise with you, have conversations with you as a person of value. That's the benefit of locking in. It's a really incredible thing. So please, your beginning phase is not the time for you to be hopping from place to place, trying to network with the high and mighty. Just focus. Let your eyes be singular. Just focus. Keep your head down and lock in. I feel like I've said lock in so many times. Like if I do a phrase counter, oh, how many times did I say lock in this video? Is going to be quite a lot. But I keep reiterating that because I think it's very important. It's a very important lesson to learn, that all you have to do is put in the work. And those same people that you're struggling to meet, that you're doing everything possible to get them to notice you, they will notice you. And they will notice you as a person of value, not someone who's just trying to get them to give you handouts or anything. One of my favorite Bible verses that talks about this is Isaiah 40:31, which says, "But those who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint." And I know that in the context of this, it's talking about waiting on the Lord. And this is something that has always been striking to me, is it's a mind-blowing thing, at least for me anyway, that we not only build strength, but we build capacity by waiting, such that when it's time to run, we are running with a speed that is unimaginable, that is unfathomable to the human mind. And it just reminds me of the trees. You see, one very fascinating thing about trees is that the deeper their roots are, the bigger and stronger they grow. And I think it's a very powerful imagery to remember when it comes to building for more than you're now. Like when it comes to doing the work that will set you up for the future. What is important at this stage is depth. Depth. Because if you don't have depth and you go into the world, you're not gonna make it. You will not make it at all. Because it is that depth that you've built in your career, in your industry, in your space, that makes you a person of value. Because nobody wants to be around somebody who always just wants something from them. So how are you giving value when you don't even have depth? I don't know if you see that it's sort of like a quagmire. It's, if you don't have depth, what value can you possibly give? You need to understand that human beings are selfish in that aspect. No one wants to be that person who is consistently pouring and doesn't get anything in return. Nobody wants a dry well. Nobody wants to be a Shimiria Tata. Nobody wants to be the river that never runs dry. Because human beings have finite time, finite energy, finite resources. So please, dear young person, this is my advice to you. Stop lobbying. Just lock in. Build the depth that is required in your industry, in your space. Build that depth and do it now. The best time to build depth is now. The future you will thank you for putting in the work and locking in. Because just like that story, slow and steady still wins the race. Slow and steady still wins the race. Until next time, I hope this was helpful. I hope that you have learned a couple of things from all my yapping today. Have fun and take care. Bye.